Welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. Why are you laughing? Let's start. So we started something. Even though this is not the nosei I want to talk about, but we'll hopefully hit all different topics today. You know, when Klal Yisrael, after they did when they got the Torah, it's very interesting. Hashem said after the Egel, you can't marry anymore your close siblings, your sisters, your aunts. And the Rashi says the Klal Yisrael was crying about that. They were very upset. Now you look at it as a disgusting thing because the Gemara says the Tanaim, what did they do? What did the Tanaim do?
Married the cousin maybe?
No. They took the eye of the Satan.
Oh, they
poked it out. Why did they poke it out? Because people actually had a ta'ava to be with their sisters. People had a ta'ava to be with their aunts. People had a ta'ava. And in order to break that ta'ava, they poked out one of the eyes of the Satan. So you look at it as a very disgusting thing. You never went to Alabama, you never went to any of these states that this is a very common but really in essence, why what's the pshat? The pshat is that when every family has their own set of garbage.
Baggage?
No one wanted to go get married to another family and then get introduced to a whole new craziness. It was much easier to marry your sister. Everyone was within the family. You marry your aunt. And you called it a day. It is what it is. That's it. Everything stayed within the family. And it was always like that. When did the Shvatim were able to marry out of the Shevet? Out of the tribes? It wasn't like that. Every tribe would marry with only their own. Tu B'Av.
After Valentine's Day?
Yeah, Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av came. Why did Tu B'Av? What does Chaz Shalom to even compare with L'Havdil Elf Alfei Alafim? What do we say? Valentines for the Jews. First of all, it's the wrong word. It's not Valentine. I shouldn't use that word. That first Valentina came from one of the popes. One of the bishops was a very big Arsham Rasha. You have to learn your history to know. But this love that we call it Tu B'Av came from the idea, the openness that now you can marry other tribes very openly. Especially Shevet Binyamin, which was casted out for different reasons. You know the story why they were casted out?
They had a civil war, no?
Well, what was the civil war?
Basically, one person was passing through and...
What's the name? What's the name of that time, that specific story? I honestly right now forgot it. Yeah, it was happened time in the Shoftim, but what exactly? There's a name to it. Whatever the case is, basically say the story, say it fast, no yalla.
The one guy went to an inn or was with
There's a halakha. The halakha is when someone travels, you can't harm him in any way.
Yeah,
he traveled and he stayed in the land of Binyamin.
He traveled at night though.
Correct. He stayed in the land of Binyamin and he was found that his concubine, which again, it's a Jewish thing. We had it. We had also more than one wife. Now again, we're not getting into this topic if it's good, it's bad, should we have it, should we not? It's irrelevant. It doesn't make a difference. We're not gonna have it, for sure not until Mashiach comes, and most probably after Mashiach comes, we're also not gonna have it. But let's just stick on the topic. He had a concubine and she was murdered. But since they were staying in the land of Benjamin, they blamed Binyamin. And Binyamin, the loyalty they had for not ratting out who killed the girl, since they were loyal to their own people, it created the first civil war in the Jews. And the tribe of Benjamin was left with 500 men. 600? 600 men bilvad. Can you imagine? A tribe of hundreds of thousands was left with 600 men only. Flabbergasted moment. And Shaul HaMelech was one of them. And he was tzanua, he was a very modest man. You were describing before, he was a very modest man. And the Georgians have a custom. How do they find their shidduchs?
They go out to the field.
They go out, take a bag, they find a girl that they like, they bag her, they bring her to the house, and the parents of the groom that just kidnapped her have to convince her to marry him. And that used to be also in some way, that's not our custom, but that it used to be. That the guys used to go take the girl and say, you marry me. Again, we have to understand also that they lived in a time that a value of living in life, to have a girl was an expense. That's what it was. If you look at, still in many poor countries, having a girl was an expense. Why? Fortunate or unfortunate, depends how you look at it. There is no value because they don't bring anything to the table. There's no income coming from them. There is nothing. So what do? Besides her own purity, which she is born with, she comes with that on the table. That's her value, which is an enormous thing, especially nowadays. So they would get them married, sell them, and a girl wanted to get married. It was their highlight of their life. What more can I look up to if not for having kids and being taken care of and so on and so forth? But unfortunately, that has been broken, and that's why it's so difficult to get married nowadays. That's exactly the point. It's so difficult because everyone feels, how I said 2 weeks ago in my shiur, everyone feels entitled. Everyone feels like, oh, people owe me. No one owes you anything. Nothing. You gotta earn your keep. You gotta create your own standards. If your standards are too high, you have to lower them. You can never forget that. And this is what happened in this week's parasha. Avram Avinu buries his wife, Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu, if you look at her life, she was a fighter. She was a balabusta, as the Ashkenazim say. She was a fighter. I could so imagine her, very thick-skinned, big lady that used to take care of Avram Avinu's house, had everything, on the tee. Everything was perfect. And when she got her child, at what age? How old was she when she got her child?
90.
Yes, she was 90 years old. She became a new person. She became a new life. Why? Because at the end of the day, the Torah says a woman needs to provide. She needs to give. You cannot. The biggest issue is when the wife becomes the mother of the husband. Big problem. She has to be a mother.
Yeah.
She has to be a wife. She can't be a mother and a mother. She needs, in her nature, she needs to give off. How's she going to give off if she doesn't have a child? She had a child. She had Yitzhak Avinu. Yitzhak Avinu in last week's parasha did the ultimate, if not the most ultimate thing, which was ready to give off his life to Klal Yisrael. The Midrash says he actually was slaughtered. He wasn't fully slaughtered, but he started to get cut. And then the Malach said, "Stop." And that's the beauty of it. Until you're not ready to sacrifice, you're never gonna see any reward. A person has to be willing to sacrifice in order to get something in return. If you don't sacrifice, you don't get anything in return. It's like those guys that finish school, high school or drop out, and they say, I'm doing my hishtadlut. What are you doing? I'm playing video games and smoking weed all day. What kind of bullcrap is that? What kind of hishtadlut is that? Yeah, if Hashem wants, He's gonna make something gonna happen. This is crazy. These are people that have no seichel, no mind. They still live in the tralla, and these are called entitled human beings. They are their own doing of their parents, as I say. Most parents hate when I say that, but it's true. Kids must learn to struggle. You must throw them into the deep waters and tell them, swim, habibi. That's the way it's done. You don't always give them a life from far. Why? It shows the child, gives the person the kelim, the tools in order to live and survive. What's up now? It gives a person the reason in order to live and function properly. If not, you won't be able to function properly. This is what happened. And what happened towards, it says, lifkota. Why is the chaf small?
He had to cry a little bit.
Ah.
Because if he cried a lot, he would have cried like Hela Titzvah.
Now, it's also more than that. They said David HaMelech, before Avshalom passed away, he was crying a lot. Crying. That his son should be... Now, I don't know if you guys know Nevi'im at all. Avshalom was his son. He was beautiful. He was very influential. Charismatic character. He was able to convince his father's wives and concubines and his father's general and army to go against his father. You know how influential you need to be in order to do that against who? David HaMelech? You know what kind of charisma and attitude you need to have? Donald Trump has nothing on Avshalom. Let me say that. That's the kind of charisma you need to have. And he convinced everybody. He was crying that his son should be Choser B'Tshuva. Until when? Until he found out that his head was chopped off. Why? He said, now that he left, what am I going to cry for? And that's when he created the Shir L'Ma'alot, right? In order to take his son out of the 7 levels of Gehinnom. He did that for his son. That was who? David HaMelech. There's no point of crying after the milk spilled. The milk spilled, what are you crying about? It already spilled. But if it didn't, there is no if it didn't. It did. Habibi, it did. Forget it. The milk is not coming back. It's finished. So why are we always crying about the past?
That's right.
Because the mess that it caused.
Because the mess that it caused.
Because I'm not that.
Okay, and crying about it, how would it help?
It's not gonna help. You're just gonna feel better.
Okay, so that's the pshat. The pshat is this is the breaking point between you're crying about it because the regret and now I have to face all the other consequences, or now I have to tackle on what's in front of me. Crying will not help at that moment. Doesn't help. Right now we have to cry that there shouldn't be a war in Eretz Israel. Right now. Once the war happens and it's all hell broke loose, that's it. There's nothing to do. I was sitting with my father, my father and mother were sitting. I heard it after. And my father goes to my mother and he says, can it be that we were zocheh to live in the days of Mashiach? Can it really be that we are really the ones that are zocheh? Now, people don't read the Nevi'im, so they don't really know how scary that time really is going to be. You know what you heard on October 7th? Unfortunately, I have to say this, but that's just a drop of the sea what's really going to happen. It's a drop of the sea what's really going to happen. And can you imagine something worse than a pregnant woman getting her child cut out of her stomach and being murdered, or a mother watching her child getting baked in an oven? Can it be something worse? We should never know. But that's the epitome of Gog Magog. The Goyim call it Armageddon and Yimach Shemam, the Muslim. It's funny, we all believe for someone to come. The funny thing, people don't know. But there's Zol Harta Barta, and waiting for Melech HaMashiach to come and to reveal himself and show us the right way between right and wrong. And when he comes, you're gonna realize. And I was thinking, a person has to do cheshbon nefesh. I was thinking, why? If you look at what happened on October 7th, I know unfortunately we're going back on this topic, but I can't. It's just my screen time went up over 2 hours a day because of what the news. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. That's why last week I canceled the show. I was already at Cannes. If you look at the people that got murdered, they were who? They were all chilonim. Now, chas v'chalila. Let me finish what I want to say. Chiloni means non-observant Jews. Hashem wanted them to have a chelik l'olam haba. So with his kindness, what did he do actually? He made them get murdered in Kiddush Hashem. Amazing. We only look at the negative of the picture. We don't look at any of the positive behind it. Hashem wanted all these people to have chelik l'olam haba. He wants. That's what he's waiting really for. He's waiting for all of us to wake up. He is. You know how many Baalei Tshuva came anew? I heard stories of people that they had a bar mitzvah and they never thought about Judaism ever again. And because of what happened, they're starting to keep kashrut, they're starting to put on tefillin, they got rid of their goyot, they're starting to have a full, trying to figure out who's their heritage. Why are we so hated? What's the reason? You know what it is? There is no reason. There's no logical reason why we're hated. Absolutely none. Zero. It doesn't make sense. It mamish doesn't make sense. For what? For building up people's economies? For what? Doing good things for the nation? For being respected? For showing manners and derech eretz to the world? Without a Torah, there would be no guidelines of normality in the human race. Do you not know the history of Europe before it's not even, I'll say even before Christianity. Christianity is based on the Torah, Bonagid. You ever read the stories of the Vikings? They were barbarians. They were white barbarians. What they have? Nothing. The Arabs before Islam came into the picture, they were all idol worshippers. They were barbarians. What happened? Kedusha came. The whole change of the world, understanding there's one God. That's what Hashem wants. It's a long time period, revealment, slowly. All the tragedy that ever happened in humanity is all building up for the moments of right now. And all of us are always worrying about tomorrow. We have to sometimes stop and say, I want to live for the moment. Not live in the moment like how a goy feels. Oh, I want to just have enjoyment right now. I want to enjoy. I want to do shtiyot. I want to be able to indulge my yetzara. That's not enjoyment. Enjoyment is something that when you catch it, it doesn't go away. That's real enjoyment. But an enjoyment that you have it and it seeps away, that's not real enjoyment. Maharaya, after you do that, you always regret it. Or there's a sense of a little, it's nothing. You know how we push it away after we do Avera? Why did I do it? Then 2 seconds later, God's going to forgive me. If it was really mamish gishmak, you would never even have that inkling of saying, why did I do that? Agav, we made ourselves immune to this. We immune ourselves to this. Why? Why did we do this? Because it's convenient. It's convenient for me to live the way I live. Any good news? It's a good night. You understand? So what happens? So Hashem did everything that He did for us to come to the realization, to understanding that He's what? How the Ari brings down in how the actually of Chaim Vital brings down the beginning of Otzrot Chaim. Hashem created this world to show to this world how merciful and how lativ to be a giver. To be a giver. Our sole purpose is to just give, both men and women. The worst existence is just to be a taker. It's the worst thing. It's the most unsatisfying objective a person can have in his life. You can't always be a taker, because when you're always a taker, you're never satisfied. What does Pirkei Avot say? It says when you have $100,000, what do you want? $200,000. When you have $200,000, what do you want? 4, 8. And it goes on and, when are you going to be full? Never. Habibi, never ever will you be full. I know people that make millions. They don't need to work. Not only don't they, their grandkids don't even need to work. Why do you work? I want more. It's not enough. What are you, crazy? Even Korach didn't have the amount of money you have. It's not enough, Rabbi. It's not enough. Okay? Don't forget to give 10%. It's that way. You understand? It's never enough. A person has to stop and say, what can I do today to make a difference in our life? What can I do? How much more can I add? How much more can I add? I need to add what? Tzitzit. I was thinking, the Midrash says that when Mashiach comes, unbelievable. You just have to be very observant in order to see how all these Midrashim are coming to life. It says that people wear tzitzit, and what's going to happen when you wear tzitzit? For every string, there's going to be one person that's going to beg to be your slave. Now, is it right? Not. Whatever. That's what the Midrash says, right? I was always thinking, how are all the Jews going to wear tzitzit? This is crazy. How are the Jews that don't wear tzitzit? What was the first thing they did when the war started? Everybody got tzitzit. They made a heter that the woman should tie tzitzit because there wasn't enough tzitziyot in Eretz Israel. Amazing! From what? From a story of a soldier that went into one of the yeshuvs, and he wanted to shoot someone, and the guy couldn't talk, and he pointed to his tzitzit, and he saw what? He's a Jew, I'm not gonna shoot him. That person that did that story, his schut is the whole Klal Yisrael schut. Amazing! For what? Strings. What is this? Don't say it's hot now. It's winter. Everyone can wear this. Amazing. You look at this stuff and you think to yourself, how the Chachamim were so right. We're so stupid and foolish. We're so dumb for even doubting it. I thought to myself, I said, everyone's wearing tzitzit. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The mitzvot that are going on in the world. There's a guy in Israel that has a car wash. He placed a tefillin boot. He's a chiloni. Earrings, kakuim, tattoos. He dyed his hair. He has no payout, nothing. He comes, he said, if you put on the tefillin in my shop, you get a free interior wash. I'm going to charge you only for exterior, not interior. Any Jew that comes and wants to put on tefillin, he gets this discount. Restaurants in the middle of Tel Aviv, they used to sell pig. They kashered their whole kitchen just to make food for the people that are fighting on Israel. Amazing! We think that, what does it say? It says in Masechet Berachot that Haman's grandkids are what? Sitting in Bnei Brak learning Torah. Where's Haman and where's Bnei Brak? What's going on? The Gemara says because when Haman decreed the killing of all Jews, what happened? All the Jews did teshuvah. And because they did teshuvah, he has a zechut. That guy has a merit because he made Klal Yisrael do teshuvah. I'm telling you, but the leader of Hamas, Yimach Shemam, you're going to see his grandkids or great-grandkids are going to be Yidden. Why? Because the amount of tshuva coming from that goy, Yimach Shemo v'zichro, is amazing. I love it. It's so delicious. You see the most far Yid today, I did a brit for a baby today. People that told me they'll never put on tefillin were wearing tefillin. From our community, guys I know. I go to one of them, I said, I love it. He comes to me, he's like, I can't believe all these years I didn't wear tefillin. Why? Because he had a vendetta with God. Okay? He grew up a little bit, he realized he can't win the fight. You have to come to a realization. Stop fighting. Start accepting. That's what happened in this week's parasha. Eliezer Eved Abraham was thinking to himself, how am I going to find a girl for Yitzhak? Yitzhak is ish chesed. From this week's parasha we learn, what do we learn? A lot of people are not going to like this, but this is what we learn from this week's parasha. You know how you know you found a good wife? If she's like your mother. It says in this week's parasha, where at the end of this week's parasha, what happened? Yitzhak Avinu brings Rivka where? To his mother's tent. And he wanted to see if the same miracles of Sarah Imenu will go on his wife, on his future wife. He didn't marry her. According to the Torah, you cannot live with a girl that's not bat mitzvah. You cannot physically live with her, but you can still marry her. It's two different things. There's Irusin and Kiddushin. It's two different things. When you learn the Gemara, you learned it, I'm assuming, right? You're learning it now, there's two different things. We have it all in one day. Engagement and weddings are done in one time. It used to be there was an engagement, they would do Harayat Mekodeshet, they would give the ring, they would say to her, I'll see you in 1 year. They would plan the wedding and preparation. It wasn't like now you go to the store, you get yourself a gown. No, every girl needed a new dress. They would go get the material, and every guy needed a new clothes. You know how much your grandparents' wardrobe was? Maybe five different shirts, one costume, 2 shoes, and that was their wardrobe for years. You, every 5 days, you want to get yourself a new pair of clothes, this and that. This is called the generation of entitled, of just feeling that everyone owes me everything. No struggle. Generation of no struggle. We should never know what struggle is, but I'm just telling you, you have to realize the goodness that you live in. You live mamash in a good era. So that's the way it was. Yitzhak Avinu brought Rivka to the tent, and what happened? He saw that the candles were lit. The bread was still fresh. What was the third one? The Ananei Kavod came back. Once he saw that, he already knew. But let's go back a little bit. And this is the ultimate thing, I think. The Fidati. Eliezer Eved Abraham took took a whole bunch of camels, and he was in the middle of the desert, and he said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whoever will give me and my camels water, I know she's the right wife for Yitzhak Avinu. What was he really looking for? What was he looking for? Was he really looking for the water? What was he looking for?
Message from God.
Okay, but why specifically that message? Maybe she should invite him to the house?
Didn't you say Yitzhak came from a family of chesed?
Oh,
She had to reciprocate chesed?
correct. He was looking for the attribute of chesed, kindness. Kindness. Unfortunately, people get confused between kindness and spoiled. It's two different things. Legamre. Unfortunately, they start in the same lane, but there's a big fork at the end. And today we're going to discuss that. When Eliezer Eved Abraham was looking for kindness, he was looking at it because he knew that's what Yitzhak Avinu needed. We all know that Yitzhak Avinu is the epitome of Gvura. He's Gvura. He's judgment. He's structure. He's balance. Everything needs to go in a certain way. That was Yitzhak Avinu. That was his nature. That was his teva. Avraham Avinu was the exact opposite. He was full of chesed. No boundaries. Only good. Everyone's welcome. Yitzhak Avinu wasn't like that. You don't see that he invited guests like his father. Totally different. Totally different. Very structured. Where's my food? Where's my wife? In the Torah, it's unbelievable how he was totally different than his father. But what did he need? He needed chesed. He needed that attribute of kindness. Why? This is the big question. The big question is why? Eliezer Eved Abraham knew something very, 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 very important. He knew that the Benot Knaaniyot, the girls of Canaan, don't have the midah of chesed. They were very self-centered human beings. The people of Canaan were very self-centered, to the point that Rashi says one of the reasons why that Avraham Avinu didn't want the girls from Canaan. Do you know why? They would not stay faithful before marriage, but they would fool their husbands that they would. They didn't have that midah. Chesed comes with being righteous. They don't have it. Eliezer said, in order to be part of Avram's family, and this is why we have this, we're all very big, we're all, even now, Rahman said, we're killing terrorists and we're still giving them food. Who does this? Who does this? Only Yid, only people without brains, only people that come from Avraham Avinu, full of chesed. It's unbelievable. It doesn't make sense in any warfare that you would ever, in the history of mankind, to take your enemy that wants to devour you, sift through the rubbles of who's good and bad, which they're all bad, and I have a proof to it, which I don't know why no congressperson have ever said this, but I'm not going to get into it right now.
Please.
Maybe towards the middle. How they're all bad. Every single one. Minar ve'alad katan. They're all bad. All. Every single one. Do I say you should kill them? I never said that. I said they're all bad. And Maharaya, when a Jew dies, everyone makes a rally on the street. Everybody. That shows you a reshut. The wickedness is in the dam, is in the blood. When you see a person getting killed and you're giving out candies to everyone, you can't say, oh, the grandma's not a terrorist, but her great-grandson, which is 30 years old, he's a terrorist. No. No. They're all, every single one of them, they're all terrorists. Why? Because if they're happy that someone died over there, that's how they think. That's who they are. How you want me to sift out people that are happy that people died, people that are not happy? How you want me to sift them out? It's impossible. It's embedded in their education. It's embedded in who they are. This is who they are. They're people that Pere Adam. We learned it we saw it 2 weeks, 2 parshas ago. What's it called? Yishmael is a Pere Adam. He's a beast. He's a wild animal. He thinks he's entitled. That's what it is. Everyone owes me. The world owes me everything. No one owes you nothing. The only thing we owe you is the grave. Why? I don't have anything against them. I don't have nothing against them. I have against people that are hypocrites. They're hypocrites! You make a misiba, a party that you just killed a little girl, and then you say, oh, but I'm not a terrorist. What the hell does that mean? How do you do such a thing like that? What's the pshat? Why are you giving out candies then? If you're so righteous, why are you giving out candies? Oh, that means you're not righteous. Shkoyach. Thank you. Thank you. Don't give me no BS. Don't give me nonsense. It's a shtuyot. Pure nonsense. Mina, from the small until the old. Kulam. Barra. Wherever they belong. La'azazel. Why? Why? Because the Torah says so. Because they are rishut. They have rishut. They have wickedness in their heart. They're wicked. They're all wicked.
You don't think their books say the same thing about us?
No. It actually doesn't say that. I went through a big portion of the Quran. It doesn't say that. Lehefech, what they did was exactly against their books. It's 100% against their books. I can even prove it to you. I have sources in my house. In their books it says you can't kill kids and women. You can't, especially if they're not armed. It says it black and white. Lefech, it says that if you're in a troubled place, you know whose house you should come to. You should come to the Jew's house because he'll take care of you. It's what it says in their books. It says it black and white. Better to go to the Jew because he'll take care of you. Oh, what happened? Why coming to my house? Of course. We saw it black and white. Terrorists came, wanted to kill a lady. She made him a feast. You know this story, right? She made him a feast.
Called modern day Yom.
Yeah, she made a feast for them. Coca-Cola she gave them. She cooked for them food. She put music for them. She gave them a hafla. Okay, they all got bullets in their head later. But then, Lamaisa, she fed them. She gave them, right? That's called a Jewish woman. Zay Yehudi. This is a Yid. We're not bloodthirsty people. To the point, red is not even allowed for us. You know that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? We have no red in our clothes, in our shvatim. We don't have red. Reuven was not red. Reuven was burgundy, your color. It's two different colors. Yeah, I'm not telling you to take off your thing. No, I want you to understand the concept behind it.
My shoes.
For one person.
You understand? Why? All of the flags of the Muslims, besides maybe one, all have red.
That's fine.
All. No, it's not. That's not why. They don't know that's not why. But in reality, it's something that's beyond our understanding. It's called hashgacha pratit from Hashem. We don't see it. Why? Because we're too much judging God. We don't actually want to look at the prophecies and say, wow, amazing. Everything is unfolding in front of your eyes. It's amazing. You're living in the days of prophecy. It's crazy. How could you not have goosebumps before you go to bed? How could you not have pride and go outside with your tzitzit and keep it outside nowadays? This is the time. What does it say in the Gemara Masech Ketubot? It says, when Mashiach comes, it's going to be like the days of Shlomo HaMelech. No more Gerim. No more. Finished. Halas. Why? Because if you weren't willing to be with us in our misery, you can't be with us when we're already having good time. It doesn't go that way. Truth comes in a time of pain. Not in a time of everything is good. When everything is good, everyone wants to do that. No, that's not truth. That's not emet. That's not hesed. And that's what Eliezer Eved Abraham was looking for. He was looking for a woman that has chesed. Because only a woman with real chesed can grow a family, can have kids. You need that. Every woman needs that midah. Now, what's the difference between chesed and being spoiled or entitled? That means no boundaries. That means when the parent says, I have no more patience, just do whatever you want. When a parent says that, the child learns, the more he nags and the more he has misbehavior, he gets what he wants. And that's a consequence, or that's a result for the parent not doing its job. I don't know if you realize, you can even see this within your own family, how your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents, they're all different. They're all different. It's so scary. Why? Because one grew up very stiff, and the other one grew up, let's give some more leniency. And the other one grew up, let's totally be lenient. And the other one says, we already have no control. How'd that happen? Well, what happened? What cracked? Secularism came into our chinuch. The Torah gives us a guideline how to raise kids, how to be structurally proper, how to go on shidduchim, how to get married, what to look for, what not to look for, what to do, what not to do, and so on and so forth. And what do? We take it and we say, no, we want to be European. We want to be like Bnei Esav. It's not really Bnei Esav, but Bonagid. Bnei Yefet. We want to be that kind of mentality. We want to say everything is accepted. Don't hurt the kid mentally. Don't hurt the kid physically. Don't do this, don't do that. I'm not advocating for pain. I'm advocating for discipline. Big difference. Rivka Imenu had that. When Eliezer saw that she had that, this is the one. This is for Yitzhak Avinu. I don't need to look more. Oh, maybe he can find better. You know those guys or girls, they go out, they find someone normal. Maybe there's better. Maybe. Oh, did Eliezer say that? Did he say maybe there's a better girl out there? He didn't say that. He saw she was good. He gave the money to Lavan and he left. Salamat. But maybe there's better, Rabbi. The sea is very big. There's a lot of girls out there. There's a lot of guys out there, you know. 21, 23, 25, 30, 32, 40. There's a lot of people in the water. What happened? Why are you 40 not married? You know, I don't know. Like this. No, Habibi. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. There is no clean-cut, perfect human being. It doesn't exist. Lo haya v'lo yeh. Even Adam Rishon, that was created by the hands of God, whatever that means. Hashem doesn't have hands. He still sinned. You looking for a perfect human being? Doesn't exist. The perfect human being, it can only be once he collides with you and you create friction. You need friction. You need to be tense. You need to argue. You need to. You must. A relationship that doesn't argue is a retarded relationship. It's retarded. You need it. You need the friction. Why? Through the friction comes growth. And I'm not telling you should fight 24/7. And fighting doesn't mean putting people down. That's mental abuse. That's something else. That's not what I meant, Rabbi Isa. I know we have a different ideology. I'm more modern, but I'm still very, very traditional in my roots. Arguing is good. But putting down and throwing hateful words, no. That's not arguing. That's abuse. That's two different things. Your mom's like this, your father's like that, your mom did that, blah, blah. What do they have to do with the picture? They're not even here. Oh, they raised you. So what? What does it have to do with anything? We're not talking about that. We're talking about growth. Growth. You need it. People need it. People live in a tralla-land. They want the perfect human being. Perfect human being doesn't exist. Doesn't. It Pasha doesn't exist. Who's perfect? You know someone perfect? He's good in this, he's bad in that. She's good in this, she's bad in that. That's the way it works. Together you make that unity and you create the perfect human being. But we like to live in Hollywood. We like to live in a Luna Park. That's how we live. We live in an imagination bowl. My friend married someone like that. No, she didn't. It's an act. No one's perfect. They just know how to hide it very well. They're very good in it. It doesn't exist. So where do you start? Yourself. Be the perfect human being you can be. You have to be Now, being the perfect human being does not mean being fanatic. I'm sorry I have to say this. There are a lot of people out there that are very fanatic. They're retardedly fanatic. And sometimes when I see them, I say this is not Yiddishkeit. This is retardation. This is retardation. You can't be fanatic. You can't. You can't be fanatic. What does fanatic mean? I don't know. It could mean so many things. Give me an example.
A guy doesn't use a salt shaker on Shabbat because he thinks it's sifting. It's like, that's crazy.
But it's not sifting.
Exactly. He thinks it is. It's a lot. That's too overboard. That's learning.
That's not fanatic. That's stupid. That's
Same
not
difference.
No, that's called not learning. You know, I know a guy that doesn't speak. Why? I'm scared every word is gonna come out of my mouth is Lashon Hara. So you know what I tell him? Why don't you just learn the laws of Lashon Hara and you'll know how to speak? I don't have time. That's called being fanatic. That's called being stupid. Did you see what I mean?
Rabbi,
Or a girl that always says, no one's good for me. Look at me. Look, I'm so tsanua, I'm so this and so that. And she'll use different kind of words just not to show that she's Sephardi or Bukhari. Her face looks like Uzbekistan, right? And like she'll like say different things and everything's right, everything's better on the other side, and you look at the person and say, are you stupid? Like are you from planet Earth or are you from Planet of the Apes? I'm not sure. You have to be human. Getting married is being yourself. Being you. The person has to fall in love or find a click with you, not with make up you or not makeup and makeup, but makeup mean that a different person doesn't exist. Be real. Be real. Be authentic. We lost that. We don't know what to be authentic means anymore. We don't know what it means to be original. We always want to be something else, someone else. Like, why? You have so much good and talent in you and who you are. Why are you being somebody else? Why? I don't understand the tipshut, the stupidness. It's so dumb. What are you doing? Can you explain to me? They can't explain it. Because they're fanatic. They're fanatic. Being fanatic is not good. Don't be fanatic. Don't be retarded. Be normal. Be a normal human being. Now, oh, I'm not gonna eat Beit Yosef anymore, that's being fanatic. No, that's a halachic guideline. That has nothing to do with not being fanatic. I'm not gonna eat no meat anymore. If that's what you think, your halachic guideline and your Rebbe tells you that's right, okay. But if your Rebbe tells you could eat from different hashgachot and now you decide not to eat anything, I think that's fanatic. I'm sorry. What do you want to ask?
I wanted to ask, what if you have like different salts for meat and dairy? Some rabbis have that. Is that fanatic?
No, that's a halachic guideline. You don't need to. If you're careful, you better if you do actually. I tell you the truth, especially salt. The salt is bolea. It takes out taste. It's something harif. It's like fire. Whatever the case is. There are things you have to do, but to do things that are abnormal. Why? Why? For what? Why are you retarded? If in your community something is normal, and in other communities it's not normal, I understand. But don't become haywire. Be yourself. Rivka Imeinu was herself. She said, "Get me the hell out of Lavan's house. I want to leave. I want to leave." Not because she was feeding camels and doing dishes and she was getting controlled by her parents. That's not why she wanted to get married. She didn't like the Tumah. She didn't like it. They were of the Avodah Zarah. They were idol worshippers. She wanted to go. She left. You have to ask yourself, how real are you? Don't wait until another 9/11 for everyone to wake up in America. Don't wait. Because if that's what you're waiting for, that's not good. That's really not good. Take the trufa before the makkah. Take the medicine before the disease comes to you. Take it. It's possible. I know when my body feels like I'm about to get sick. I feel it in my body. I know if I don't do A, B, C, and D, I'm going to be sick in the bed for a week. But I know if I'm not going to be lazy and I'm going to do A, B, C, D, within 5 hours, I take a good nap. After I do what I need to do, I'm back on track. I'm fine. I know how to fight it. Don't wait for it. Because I promise to you, if something like that's going to happen in America, you're going to be needing to say Asher Yatzar every day. Every hour. I don't know if you guys remember 9/11.
I wasn't born.
You weren't born. I was born.
I was born.
I was in school. The things our parents were saying. I never had a family meeting in the middle of the week. It was only Shabbat. Sat down, talk about they're terrorists, and we're all scared. What do we do? Don't go outside. They're coming after us. All these things, we were trembling. You know me, trembling? I remember like it was yesterday. I was young, but I remember it. There was no school for like 2 days after. Everyone was going nuts. What's going on? Islamophobic everyone became. Everyone hated everybody. If that's gonna happen here, yeah, habibi, I'm telling you, you don't wanna live it. Don't then say, oh, now there's God. Where's my tzitzit? Where's my tzniut? Why are you waiting for that? No, why? No, why? Are you waiting for someone to come with a knife to chop off your head for you to wake up? Is that what you're waiting for? If current event, if history teaches us one thing, it's Jews only wake up when there's tragedy. Only, unfortunately.
Even then they won't.
Let's wake up and say that the tragedy that happened in Eretz Israel was an awakening for everyone, for all the Yidden in the world.
Mashiach will come.
We don't need. How I said before, people think Mashiach is everyone's on a flying on eagles to Eretz Israel. No, Habibi. Mashiach means the summation and death to majority of the world. You know what it is to have kids and running for your own life, not having the ability to take care of them because you're too busy of trying to save your own skin? That's the word. I have 6 kids. You know what that is? I took my son and daughter are exactly a year and a day apart. Exactly. Really a year and a couple hours apart. Once Chav Cheshvan, once Yutet Cheshvan. We were sitting, I went out with my wife and my kids for their birthday, and I just the 2 older kids. And I asked my son, I said, God forbid something happens. What's your game plan? What are you going to do? I said, you and my son's Eliyahu and my daughter Shira. I said, Eliyahu, Shira, what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? I'm going to kick you out of the house because you need to survive. What is your game plan? What are you going to do? And you see little kids, 10 and 9-year-old, thinking, yo, what would we do? Do I know what to do? How would I be able to survive? How would I be able, what would be my tactic? Now people think this is, in Europe, they also thought this was a far-fetched question. They all thought, this can happen to us in Germany? Never! Forget about it! We brought Yamach Shemo Hitler in power. He'd never do that to us. You're a Jew? Yes. Bam. Good morning. You ever saw The Pianist, that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. The most hurtful part of that movie was when they took the guy with the wheelchair and they threw him off the balcony. I had to watch it in high school. They made us watch that movie. Yeah, Habibi. That's so nice. Imagine getting butchered. I know you guys don't want to hear it, but this is the reality. You have to hear it. This is something you have to hear. You have to wake up. You must. You must. You have to hear this. What's your question?
This is slightly off topic, but apparently there is some sort of rally happening in Washington.
Yeah, I know this.
Next Wednesday.
I know this.
Would Rav advocate for people to go?
Would I tell people to go to the rally in Washington next Tuesday, right? If it's not going to be COVID, if it's not going to ruin your schedule, then you should go. But if you are Kovei Itim LeTorah at that time or you work, do not take off for it. That's my conclusion. Lev Malachim Biyad Hashem. That's all I'm gonna say. If you think it's gonna help, go. If you think it's gonna ruin from your limud Torah, for your schedule of college, or for you working, don't go. I'm gonna finish with this last thing. But this story that I heard, father, the worst thing is sinat hinam, hating someone for nothing. It was his father that said that on October 7th, he had a lot of kids, like I think 5 boys, like 3 daughters. Not all of his boys have the same view of life. Some are more liberal, some are more religious, whatever, it happens. But on October 7th, when this tragedy happened, 2 of his boys, one Haredi and one not Haredi, one very religious and one not religious, they put their differences aside and they said, we have to go. Voluntarily. They heard what's happening, they went in their car and they drove, and they both got murdered. And the father got up and said, you don't know what kind of pride I have, that my boys, against all of their differences and how they held different, but when it came to love and save another Jewish life, they didn't ask questions. But you're gonna see a lot of things in the upcoming days and weeks of different sects of Jews, religious or not religious, that are going against basic halachic laws of Al-dam achicha, do not stand in your brother's blood. V'aftech kamocha, avat Yisrael. A lot of halachas they're going against. They can have shtreimels, they can have long beards, they can be fully shaved, they can be lefts, they can be right. It doesn't make a difference. Our guideline is this. Beards don't make a difference, peot don't make a difference, and hats don't make a difference. We follow the Torah and we follow Morei Hora'ah. We have the Gdolei Hador. There's not one Gadol Hador that agrees with those kind of Jews. Not one. To go and to say what they say, not one Gadol Hador agrees to that. Even the Satmar Rebbe himself that said that Zionism is something that's not good, but never in his life did he say that a Jew should be murdered. Or never in his life did he say you should hold their made-up flag. One day I want to do a whole shiur about the history of that land. It's going to blow your socks off. Real history. Never. So when you see those people and you go and you want to judge all Hasidic Jews because of them, don't do it. Because it's not true. It's not. And I fight with a lot of Jews about this. They say, oh, look at these chunduli. I say, it's not all Ashkenazim. It's not even a fraction of a percent. These are people that are looking for attention. These are people that are psychotic, sick. They need to go to the mental institution. These are not Yidden. I promise to you, I'm telling you and you my word, those people have a blemish in their soul. They're not from Zera Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov. They're not. They're not. You can look. You're going to go check them, and when Mashiach comes, they're not going to be around. I'm telling you this right now. For another Jew to stand up and say, it's okay, kill the Yidden. To be in that kind of rally, to be in a rally with certain sects of people, their shorsh is not from Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov. Mark my words. Ani katan, but I have big wings I'm saying this on top of. I'm not saying this for myself. I'm saying this from Gedolei Hador that told me this, from their mouth. Don't ever get discouraged because of people. Ever. Always ask. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen.